Many thanks for joining us and welcome to CoreTV News at 7. I am Emmanuel Ezekiel. Speaker of the Niger State House of Assembly, Adamu Usman, has been impeached by 18 out of the 27 members, with Issa Kawu of Bida 1 State Constituency elected new Speaker. Following the sealing up of the Niger State House of Assembly complex by a combined team of police and operatives of the Department of State Services on Tuesday, allegedly in a bid to stop threats by members of the Assembly to impeach the State Governor, Dr. Babangida Aliyu, confusion took the center stage as lawmakers broke the keys used by the police to lock the gate of the Assembly. According to sources, the police sealed up the Assembly complex to prevent the lawmakers from forming a quorum to move for the impeachment of the governor. According to reports, members of the Assembly who had entered the chamber stormed the gate in anger, ordering the most senior officer guarding the gate to open it for their colleagues who were locked out. The police officer, a deputy superintendent of police, however, said he was not with the keys of the gate. Now, as the crisis in Enugu State House of Assembly continues, with a threat of impeachment hanging on the neck of the state governor, Sullivan Chime, members of the People's Democratic Party have taken to the streets of Enugu to protest the move. The members who took to the streets in their numbers chanted solidarity songs against what they described as an unnecessary crisis. Despite the heavy police barricade in front of the House of Assembly, some of the protesters spoke to CoreTV News on what they described as an unnecessary crisis at the tail end of the administration.
To demonstrate our love, our support, our loyalty to our amiable governor, Sullivan Chime, whom we should be celebrating by now for the good work he has done in Enugu State. For the good work have been doing in Enugu State. This is not the way we should send you off. This is a man that has done so much in Enugu State that is worthy to celebrate. We shall resist any attempt.
In Enugu State, Goodluck Jonathan contested in Abuja and he lost his own. He did not start making problems in the whole Nigeria. I see no reason if you contest election and you did not win, you have to go back to your house and not to come to Enugu State and cause problem. We don't have problem here.
So
okay? And we welcome our new speaker, which is Chinedu Wamba, and Chinedu Wamba, Enugu State stands up.
Governors elected under the platform the All Progressives Congress says they're worried about the economy and want President-elect Muhammadu Buhari to do something about it as soon as he is sworn in. They also solicited his support for an intervention fund to enable state governors clear the backlog of workers' salary. They made the appeal when they visited President-elect Buhari in Abuja.
Most states of the Federation have not been able to pay salaries, and even the federal government have not paid their April salary. That is very worrisome. And by May, June, that will be cumulated into about 3 months. And we wonder, with the huge expectations from Nigerians and the people who have voted us into this power, we're hoping that the president-elect will do all the things, whatever is humanly possible, to bring about a bailout.
You have no problem of taking over from yourselves, but you who are taking over from others, especially the ruling party, where they lost, you have a lot of problems. Yes, our committee is having a problem now. Our committee is that to take the documents and the record is seen as a federal government rather than an outfit, an administrative or legal outfit to take over documents which we are expected to get on the ground, on which we are going to build, not on just talking and theories, but on physical handover. How much are we owing?
Meanwhile, President Goodluck Jonathan has appointed Asabe Ahmed as the Executive Secretary of the Petroleum Equalization Fund. Ahmed is the incumbent Minister of State for Agriculture and Rural Development. Presidential spokesman Ruben Abati said the president has also named Denzil Kentebe as Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Content Development Board. The two appointments comes less than a month to the end of President Jonathan's tenure in office. Meanwhile, the Presidential Advisory Council on International Relations has held a valedictory meeting with President Goodluck Jonathan. The council, led by its chairman and former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Emeka Anyoko, disclosed that the visit is the last meeting with the outgoing president. Speaking with journalists after a breakfast meeting with the president at the presidential villa, Chief Anyoko said the country owed Jonathan a huge debt of gratitude, not only for conceding defeat, but also for delivering credible elections.
Well, we had an excellent valedictory meeting with the president. This being the last meeting of our council and the last time we are meeting with the outgoing president. We told him that our nation, Nigeria, owes him a huge debt of gratitude for what he has done in terms of the elections, the success of the elections, and above all, in terms of his gesture in picking up his telephone and congratulating the president-elect even before the results of the final results of the elections were announced. That singular act has earned our country a great deal of admiration and respect abroad, and we thanked him and congratulated him on that. And we also wished him well for his future endeavors.
Away from those stories now to a legislative response to the killings in Plateau, where the Senate has mandated its committees on defense and army to investigate the circumstances behind a recent attack on some communities in Plateau that left over 80 persons dead. This was on the basis of a motion moved by Senator Victor Law, who represents Plateau South in the Senate. Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu issued the order after listening to the gory picture of death and destruction painted by the senator. La had claimed that the attackers who destroyed at least 5 villages were dressed in outfits that looked like that of the Nigerian army.
Tended to imply that they were not genuine Nigerian army personnel because they used matches to hack down people, they shot at and killed women and children, they killed men, uniformed policemen and civil defense personnel, they burned down every and any house within reach, and they used petrol to burn the bodies of the victims that they killed. The essence of making this explanation, Mr. President, is that when our brothers and sisters in the Northeast were under the heavy yoke of insurgency, and there were operations that tended to imply that it was either the army or Boko Haram, this Senate took the wise decision of listening and sending a committee to investigate and reporting.
Our prayer is that we should see to the end of this insurgency in any form, whether it is military, armed militia, or insurgency, or any kind of unfortunate attack on ordinary citizens. We condemn it and hope that it will come to an end as short as possible time. Since we are not sure whether this operation came from the armed forces or insurgents or armed militia, let me quickly suggest that the Committee on Defense should contact the Military High Command to verify the identity of those who carried out this attack.
The All Progressives Congress may be heading for a brick wall a few weeks before it takes over the mantle of leadership if it fails to consider the equitable distribution of its choice of appointment among the 6 geopolitical zones that make up Nigeria. A group of the South-South Equity Forum at a media briefing in Benin has called on the President-elect Muhammadu Buhari to reflect the federal character of Nigeria and the need to promote national unity in line with the 1999 Constitution. Our correspondent has more in this report.
Addressing newsmen, the group, through its spokesman Harrison Omagbon, says the speakership position be ceded to the South-South region. He said for equity's sake and for the continued adherence to the federal character principle, the position should be for the South-South.
The Southwest and Northwest already have the position of President and Vice President respectively. It is only fair and just, and as a matter of necessity, if the Senate presidency goes to either the Northeast or North Central, the speakership should go to the South-South. While the Southwest has a Vice President, invariably the speakership should come from the South-South, since the Southeast has no ranking member.
The group said the APC as a party cannot afford the crisis that will arise from the mismanagement of her victory, which was why the PDP lost in the last election across the country. The group, which had its representatives mainly from Edo State, had no single coordinator from the state in the South-South in attendance, which claimed, just as the appeal to the president-elect, the leadership of the APC to be on the side of the fair play, equity and justice.
Now, most Nigerians believe that corruption has been a major challenge ravaging the country for years, while the incoming Buhari administration administration of Buhari, the mandatory declaration of assets by political appointees has become front burner issue to encourage accountability and bring an end to corruption in the country. This political analyst says, though asset declaration in an office itself is not necessarily a deterrent for corrupt practices, Nigeria needs to focus on institutional frameworks that can assist the new government in achieving its objective of zero tolerance for corruption.
Declaration of asset is a constitutional matter, and I can assure you, even members of the present administration declared theirs. There was a time Jonathan was criticized for not making his asset declaration public. He said, well, he has fulfilled the law, and he is right. So curbing corruption, you see, it takes a lot to curb corruption. It's simplicity to think that mere declaration of asset, publicly or privately, would curb corruption. No, corruption has both what I may call psychological, economic, socio-cultural aspects, and these have to be dealt with.
If you've just tuned in, this is CoreTV News at 7. When we come back from this very quick break, a Nigerian is said to be trekking, an amputee for that matter, for president-elect, as well as an expected military overhaul by the time the new government comes in. These and more here on CoreTV 7 o'clock news. Stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Welcome back. Well, this is CoreTV News at 7. You can reach us on following social media platform, Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTV News, or our Twitter handle at CoreTV News NG. You can also check our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space, and then news. Now, a double amputee is said to be embarking on a trek from Kaduna to Abuja to meet with President-elect Muhammadu Buhari. Musa Ibrahim told CoreTV News shortly after a takeoff that he decided on the long trek to draw attention to the plight of physically challenged Nigerians. Amina Nebi has more in this report as presented from our studios.
This man is trekking from Kaduna to Abuja, just like Sulaiman Kashimu, who recently spent 19 days working from Lagos to Abuja. But unlike the Lagos trekker, 30-year-old Musa Muhammad is a double amputee. He has opted to trek to Abuja from Kaduna to deliver a message told the president-elect on the need to consider physically challenged persons for political appointment.
We want you to deliver this letter to our humble president-elect, congratulating him on his new position.
He also hopes that incoming government will do better than the outgoing one in the area of employment for disabled persons.
I'm trying to appreciate what Allah has done for us by giving us a new set of government from the state up to the national level, for giving us Nasir El-Rufai as Kaduna State Governor-elect and President-elect as Muhammadu Buhari.
Asked how he hopes to cope during the exercise, Musa had this to say.
President-elect has made a promise to eradicate corruption and stabilize the economy, but it can only succeed if we support him.
He plans to get to Abuja in 5 days and hopefully have a one-on-one section with the president-elect Muhammadu Buhari on a plight of physically challenged Nigerians.
Now, one of the first major actions to be taken by President-elect Muhammadu Buhari on the assumption of office is a massive shake-up of the military. Sources say there will be a mass retirement of senior officers who are believed to have corruptly enriched themselves or who abandoned professionalism for politics. Already, a small group has been set up quietly to work out the modalities for the shake-up and scout possible replacements for those to be weeded out. Most likely to be affected are officers who allegedly mismanaged funds that meant for military operations and those who colluded with crude oil thieves, as well as those who engaged in political activities in the breach of their professional duties. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo, in his congratulatory letter to Buhari after the March 28 election, had urged the president-elect to reform the military, saying so much harm had been done to many national institutions, including the military, which proudly nurtured you and me, end of quote. Obasanjo, on assuming office in 1999, retired all officers who had held political appointments, an action though to have thought to have helped prevent a possible coup after several military interventions in the nation's history. As Nigerians get set for the inauguration of President-elect Muhammadu Buhari, Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola says law and order will play a critical role in the process of changing the nation for the better. Fashola emphasized this at the opening ceremony of the 32nd Synod of the Nigerian Anglican Communion in Lagos. For his part, the Diocesan Bishop of Lagos, Adebola Ademowo, expressed optimism that the incoming Buhari administration will take Nigeria out of the woods. Abiola Oluwole has more in this story as presented from our studios.
Less than a month to the inauguration of President-elect Muhammadu Buhari, Nigerians across party divide have been speaking on their expectation from the incoming administration. Though the gathering is religious in nomenclature, there was also a platform to speak on the ingredients needed for the progress of the country. According to Governor Fashola, for Nigeria to move up the ladder in the Committee of Nations, premium must be placed on the enforcement of the rule of law.
For me, law and order is not just police and security agencies. It requires all of us to show leadership in the place where we are leaders, in our homes, in our churches, in our mosques.
While expressing optimism about the future of Nigeria, the Diocesan Bishop of Lagos, Adebola Ademowo, called on citizens to pray for Buhari administration in order to achieve desired change for the country.
Buhari is going to take us out of the woods. All this Boko Haram thing and poverty all over the place, unemployment, security, wahala. The man is up to the task.
As the clock ticks on the swearing-in of the Buhari-Osinbajo administration, the expectations of Nigerians, according to political watchers, is the fulfillment of the electioneering promises.
In the same vein, the General Overseer of Glory Christian Church Ministry International, Ephraim Ifeonu, has warned the President-elect Muhammadu Buhari to be wary of false prophets and prophecies in order not to be misled. Ifeonu also urged Buhari to dedicate himself to God and sound leadership qualities that would distinguish him. He gave the advice in Lagos during the inauguration of the Akeson Worship Center of the church. The cleric said the first thing that would make a leader succeed was dedication to God. Ifeonu also urged other ministers of God in the country to remain firm and not allow the pursuit of material wealth influence them into giving false prophecies. In the meantime, the Kaduna State All Progressives Congress Transition Committee on Monday warned those it described as impersonators to henceforth desist from such act or risk prosecution. Chairman of the committee, Balarabi Lawal, was quoted in a statement by Samuel Aruwan, the spokesman for the governor-elect, Nasir El-Rufai, that some elements were allegedly defrauding the public using the committee as a launchpad. He was quoted to have warned that anyone found impersonating committee members or carrying out any illegal act in the name of the transition committee will be handed over to the police for prosecution. And in Abia State, the governor-elect Okezie Ikpeazu has placed temporary ban on courtesy visits by his supporters. He said the ban would enable him to plan adequately for the task ahead. Ikpeazu, in a press statement personally signed by him, thanked Abia residents for voting him into power, but pleaded with those jostling to pay him courtesy visits to give him some breathing space so he could prepare for the job he was elected to do. It is reported that Ikpeazu's country home at Umuobiakwa in Obingwa has become a mecca of sorts since after the governorship election, as individuals and groups continue to pay visits to the governor-elect. Various entertainment groups and dancing troupes have also been having a field day with free feeding on a daily basis at his home. The Nigeria Union of Journalists has reminded government and non-governmental organizations of the need to respect press freedom. NUJ President Mohammed Garba said this at the commemoration of the 2015 World Press Freedom Day in Kaduna. Amina Anibi has more in this report, as presented from our studios. May 3rd is usually a day set aside to celebrate the World Press Freedom annually, but the Nigeria Union of Journalists is marking this year on May 4 and is keen to tasking journalists, especially women, to brace up for new challenges in our digital world. NUJ President Mohammed Garba also reminded the government and non-governmental organizations and the civil society of the importance of a free press. He also spoke on free and independent journalism as well as quality reporting in the digital age.
The main objective of the World Press Freedom Day is to remind governmental and non-governmental organizations and the civil society of the vital role of the liberty of freedom of expression.
Kaduna State Governor Ramalan Yero was represented at the event by the Commissioner of Information, Ben Bako. He wants the media to be more professional in their reportage.
A moment for reflection on the virtues of this noble profession, the sufferings, the sacrifices, as well as the challenges of freedom that the journalism profession has been faced with right from time.
Other journalists also spoke on the various perspectives of the industry. The managing director of the Kaduna State Media Corporation, Tamani Yusuf, preferred to focus on digital broadcasting in Nigeria.
We need to ensure that we get digital studios. We have to get the equipment, the facilities, and the training for our staff to ensure that they are not left behind.
Highlights of the day include paper presentation from two bodies and pen paraded led by the National Secretary of the Nigeria Union of Journalists. Now to familiarization tour. Information Minister Patricia Akwashiki has commenced what looked like a farewell tour of parastatals in this ministry. The minister, who was appointed a cabinet member a few weeks ago, visited the headquarters of the News Agency of Nigeria, NAN, and the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, on the first day of her three-day tour. Basi Aye has more from the familiarization tour.
With barely few days till the current administration comes to an end, it is expected that all officials should be dotting the T's and crossing the I's in their handover notes. But the Information Minister is embarking on a familiarization tour of parastatals in the ministry. Akwashiki insists that the effort is not misplaced, as she has work to do until May 29.
We are very appreciative of what you are doing here. And mine is to encourage you to continue to do well, to support government wherever you can, and to improve yourselves, to compete in the global information technology or era. Now we are going to go digital. It's very important for you to reposition yourself to take part in the coming digitalization.
The visit was an opportunity for these news agencies to showcase their facilities and seek more funds.
It will encourage us to continue to do our best for the country. We believe that Nigerians deserve a greater and better FRCN, and that's what we are working, to achieve.
It's pertinent to note that NAN has been able to increase its productivity from 30,000 stories in 2013 to 40,090 stories in 2014. We have also produced 4,311 photographs in 2014 as against 3,000 photographs in 2013.
Although these visits may be coming at a time many may consider inappropriate, the heads of government establishments insist that it could not have come at a better time. Basia Ye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Now, all marketers have assured Nigerians that the lingering fuel shortage across the country would soon be over. Executive Secretary of Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, Femi Olawere, made the assurance in Abuja after an extensive meeting with marketers and government officials led by the Minister of Finance, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. He admitted that the scarcity was caused by the refusal of marketers to load the products due to non-payment of outstanding payments, but noted that now that funds have been released, fuel will be distributed nationwide.
You all recall that there were some issues about movement of product to the retail outlets. Following from the release of the last payment, 154.56, the owners of the trucks have agreed to allow their trucks to start loading. As we speak, they have been loading, and those of you that can contact your friends in Lagos, they will confirm that Lagos is getting better by the hour, and that because of the distance between Lagos and Abuja, the product mainly comes from Lagos. Because of the distance, it will take some time before Abuja gets to the normal position.
We really welcome the news that has been announced by the marketers, and we thank them and their discussions with the truck, those who move the product. On our own side, we are also we've discussed the issues they have on the table, and we are looking into them. Government is a continuum, and I think that you'll find that whatever the issues are, they will be resolved so that Nigerians will not suffer.
You're watching CoreTV News at 7. We'll go for another quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you sports and foreign stories. Stay with us.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Now to sports stories. FC Cologne have confirmed that striker Anthony Uja will move to Werder Bremen in the summer on a 4-year contract. The financial details of the deal were not disclosed, but the 24-year-old Uja has scored 10 goals in the Bundesliga this season and earned recall to the Nigerian national team. He moved to Cologne from Mainz in 2013, where his contract was supposed to run until 2017. Bremen are looking to replace David Salke with a Nigerian. The 20-year-old German will leave for Austrian side RP Leipzig at the end of the season. Bremen's sporting director was saying that they have watched him extensively and for a long time will be confident that he will perform well. And in tennis, defending champion Maria Sharapova continued her return to form as she swept past Colombia's Mariana Delque Marino at the Madrid Open. Sharapova, 28, had lost early in her last 3 tournaments but beat Delque Marino 6-1, 6-2 to reach the last 16. Czech 4th seed Petra Kvitová came through a testing encounter against American Coco Venego 6-4, 2-6, 6-3. Victoria Azarenka beat Ayla Tomljanovic 6-3, 6-3 to set up a third-round meeting with American top seed Serena Williams. Third seed Russian Sharapova broke Delque Marino's serve 4 times while serving 3 break points on her own serve. In the men's event, 13th seed Gael Monfils thrashed Serb Viktor Troicki 6-2, 6-love, while Bulgarian 10th seed Grigor Dimitrov led Donald Young 6-4, 3-0 before the American were tired. And now to foreign stories now. Burundi's constitutional court says President Pierre Nkurunziza can run a 3rd term in office. Under the country's constitution, presidents can only be elected to 2 terms in office, but it was argued that his 1st term does not count as he was appointed by parliament. His 3rd term bid has led to more than a week of deadly protest, and the court's decision comes after its vice president reportedly fled the country, cutting death threats. Reports has it that most of the court's judges, though thought the 3rd term bid was unconstitutional, but they were under pressure to change their minds. On Monday, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry urged Nkurunziza to abandon his re-election bid. The announcement on April 25 rather, that Nkurunziza will run for a 3rd term in June's election sparked a wave of protest as well as diplomatic criticism. The Red Cross says that 12 people have died during the demonstrations, and clashes between police and protesters have also left dozens injured. But at the end of April, the AU's Peace and Security Council called on Burundians to respect the Constitutional Court's decision, whichever way it went. Nkurunziza, a former rebel leader, has been in power since 2005 when he was appointed by Parliament following a peaceful deal that ended a 12-year civil war. He then won the 2010 presidential election after the main opposition parties boycotted the vote over concern that it would be rigged. And Islamic State ISIS has said that it was behind the attack on a Prophet Muhammad cartoon contest in the U.S. state of Texas. It said that 2 soldiers of the Caliphate carried out the attack at a conference center near Dallas. An ISIS Al-Bayan radio news bulletin said the exhibition was portrayed negative pictures of the Prophet Muhammad. Both suspects were not shot dead after opening fire at the contest on Sunday. Reports say that it is believed to be the first time that it has claimed to have carried out an attack in the U.S. Court documents have shown that one of the 2 gunmen shot dead had been a terror suspect, Elton Simpson, and had been under surveillance since 2006 and was convicted in 2010 for lying to FBI agents about plans to go to Somalia to engage in violent jihad or holy war, the files reveal. A judge found him guilty of making a false statement, and he was sentenced to 3 years probation and a $600 fine. The judge ruled that there was insufficient evidence that the false statement involved international terrorism. He had shared a flat in Arizona with a person named by officials as other alleged gunmen, Nadrif Sufi, on Monday. FBI agents searched their home in Phoenix and a white van parked outside. Well, that's our last take on the news at 7, and of course the reporter starts right away. I am Emmanuel Ezekiel.